video, I'm going to show you how to find standard deviation in the Ti-84. All right, so I have this set of data here, and what we're going to do is we're going to find the standard deviation of it. Now, if you're familiar with standard deviation formula, if you're watching this video because you're trying to figure out population standard deviation or sample standard deviation, call this whatever you want to call it. Call it population, call it sample. It doesn't matter. I'm going to enter in the calculator. So if I go into the calculator, let me go full screen. So I'm going to enter this data into the calculator. So I'm going to go full screen with my calculator here. So I'm going to hit stat, edit, and then I actually already have this in the calculator. Let me just double check. Yep. Pro tip though, if you have previous problems in here, if you highlight the top of the column and you hit the clear button and then you hit the down arrow, it will wipe out everything. So if you hit clear, down arrow, it will clear out that column. Here, I'm going to do it just to show you over here. So if I just type in a couple values. So if I want to clear that out, I'll highlight L2, I'll hit clear, and hit the down arrow, boom, gone. Okay, so I have the data. So now I'm going to hit stat. I'm going to go over to calc. One var stats. Make sure you have L1 listed if that's where you put your data. Calculate. Here are the two symbols we need to be looking at. Sample standard deviation, population standard deviation. So if you're familiar with the formulas for sample standard deviation and population standard deviation, you'll know that it's two different formulas. It's not the same information. Where sample standard deviation is n-1, the sample size, or the population size, I should say. The sample standard deviation is the sample size minus 1, where the population standard deviation is the population. As I was talking, I couldn't tell if I was flipping it in my mind and saying it wrong out loud, but I think I was saying it right. So the sample standard deviation, again, is divided by n-1, where the population standard deviation is divided by just the population size, same within that formula. So if you're familiar with that, then you know that's why we have two different numbers. So you might be looking at these and saying, how can standard deviation be two different things? It's because the calculator doesn't know what you're doing. Like, it doesn't know that you want it to be a sample standard deviation, or it doesn't know you want it to be a population standard deviation. So it's calculating it two different ways just for your benefit of like, oh, this was a sample, so therefore my standard deviation is 6.566. So it's 5.6 or 6.6. Population standard deviation, 6.1, just based off of the formula. And again, the calculator doesn't know the data that you typed in. It doesn't know that it's a sample, or it doesn't know it's a population. So it just gives you both. And then you have to be able to interpret the correct value. So this symbol right here is population. And then this symbol right here is sample standard deviation, S of X. So there you go. And I know if you've ever had that explained to you, I know it's kind of confusing, like when you're just doing problems, like which number do you use? Do you use the sample or do you use the population? You just got to know the problem. You got to know what the problem's asking you to do. You got to know what it's wanting. Is it a problem regarding sample, or is it a problem regarding population? But that should do it.